What is up, guys? Scott here with Renz, Andrew, and Alex for the 5th episode of the Wild Blueberries Roundtable. Today is going to be a little bit shorter because, again, for the next couple of weeks, we're in the dead zone. Obviously, we've got some stuff to talk about regarding the playoffs. But before that, I'm going to quickly mention that the NBA draft lottery doesn't know what they're doing, and New Orleans have fun with Zion Williamson and not Anthony Davis. That's all I'm going to say about the draft lottery. That's all anybody's going to say about the draft lottery on this episode, because I'm a Knicks fan and I want to avoid it at all costs. All right, so now moving on to the actual topic for today's episode, and you heard me. I said topic because this topic is going to take a while to explain. The general question is, Rent, unmute yourself.
Yeah.
What is a hand pass in the NHL? Take it from there.
Oh, you see, what a hand pass is when a player touches the puck and basically passes it to someone instead of their stick. So what would usually happen is the player is blown dead.
All right.
Let's just say it didn't happen.
All right, Andrew, what happened in the San Jose Sharks-St. Louis Blues game last night?
Some guy batted the puck down. Timo Meier batted the puck down to another player. Remind me.
I think
My mind.
Was it Hurdle?
My mind's going blank on the player who passed the puck to Erik Karlsson, who shot the puck in the net in a legal fashion.
Now,
if there had been two normal passes, that would have been a good goal. Nobody would have complained about it.
Yeah, but up until before the Tomas Hurdle pass, which I believe it was Hurdle, correct me if I'm getting it wrong. Everything before that, there's a little rule in the NHL rule book that states anything in the last 5 minutes of the third period or the overtime in a playoff game can be formally and has to be formally reviewed by the National Hockey League. This was not. Why wasn't it?
This was not reviewed because this play was unreviewable.
Why was it unreviewed?
Timo Meier knocks the pass down to Gustav Nyquist.
Oh, it was Nyquist.
Who passes the puck to Erik Karlsson, who shoots the puck in. The refs signal a goal. St. Louis is up in arms because there was a hand pass from Timo Meier to Gustav Nyquist. None of the refs on the ice saw it. All of the referees in the stands saw it. You cannot review a hand pass. A hand pass is unreviewable. So therefore, the goal stood.
Which is just completely unnecessary that stuff like this has to happen still. Game 7 of the Sharks-Knights series last night. The Sharks are just getting a lot of luck. Obviously, this playoffs is something that we'd like to see. Could be Joe Thornton's last. We'd all love to see Joe Thornton against the Boston Bruins, but I want to see it done right and not illegally. But, I mean, technically, it was legal. And Brad Marchand just got stopped. That was a beautiful toe drag, but Curtis McElhinney's in net tonight because they've given up on Peter Mrazek. So, continuing with the thought of just the refereeing in general. Multiple head coaches have come out and spoken about it. Dad Bod Rod Brindamore, came out and said that he was not happy with the officiating, especially in this series versus the Bruins, hence why the Bruins are up 3-0. He said that there was some bad calls made. and that the refereeing should have been fixed a long time ago, and I think everybody in the NHL agrees. Islanders fans started realizing that the refereeing was really bad. That I caught myself there. It was really bad. After in the playoffs a couple of years ago against the Washington Capitals, and obviously, Alex's team played the Caps in the Cup final last year, and Renz and Andrew and myself, we all know this player. The guy who wears number 43, anyone catch his name? The Goon. The Goon who scores 20 goals and is getting paid $5 million a year. Tom Wilson.
The guy Tom Wilson?
Yeah, he
kid?
scored
That
3
guy
this year,
that-
too,
Yeah.
which is weird.
Tom Wilson went behind the net to Lubomir Wisnowski, who did not have the puck, and just crushed him.
Oh, we're talking about that call.
Oh, no, we're talking about that call. And
Yeah, that was that good old...
all that started the Islanders' mutual hate against Tom Wilson. And Tom Wilson still hates the Islanders, but you know what? He was the one that started it. He will always be viewed as somebody who is a goon, doesn't know what they're doing on the ice. I feel like Ryan Reeves is more competent on the ice than he is, because Ryan Reeves actually knows what he's doing.
Ryan Reeves is a decent hockey player.
Ryan Reeves is worth a first-round pick.
And prospect.
And Oscar Sundqvist.
Yep.
Good job, Pittsburgh. Good. Clap it up for the Pittsburgh Penguins, everybody. First-round pick and Oscar Sundqvist for Ryan Reeves.
Hey,
Because
you need
you
that
know
grit.
what? We need more grit to protect Crosby and Malkin.
Yeah, even though Crosby and Malkin have had histories of protecting themselves.
Evgeny Malkin was top 10 in penalty minutes this year.
Especially Malkin. One of the
Yeah.
one of the dirtiest players in the NHL.
Like, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to take a whack at Malkin.
Nobody would.
Yeah.
He's definitely up there.
Malkin tried to slew foot a flyer and hurt himself.
Like, come on.
Malkin,
Malkin can take care of himself. Why bring a Reeves?
I won't say he embellishes a lot of stuff. That's the way I can put it without being victim of like any demonetization or on the YouTube side of things, for like better terms. Malkin's he's not the smartest player in the world. I think all three of you know the word I want to put there, but I can't. But
Goon?
no, not goon. A lot worse than that. But
Yeah.
he embellishes a lot of stuff, and then when he doesn't embellish stuff, it's because he's on the wrong side of it. He's the one getting the calls. He's the one getting the 5-minute majors. The refs just. I think this offseason the NHL needs to work on two things. One, avoiding another strike come 2021, 2022. And two, trying to find the right way to ref a game. Alex, what's the right way that NHL referees should be reffing a game? Very open-ended, but what's the right way?
The right way is to call it with common sense. If something's an obvious penalty or an obvious hand pass, then call it. Every play should be reviewable.
So you're saying
I have to disagree. I have to disagree with that. I don't think every play should be reviewable, but I think goals that come in key moments, like the one last night, should have every aspect of it in the direct lead up to the goal reviewable.
Yeah,
That
I
hand
get
pass
that.
should be something that is reviewable.
it's hand pass, goal.
That offside, if it occurs in a specific amount of time before the goal, but not something that's occurred if the team's had a chance to clear the zone. If you've turned over, the offensive team has lost possession of the puck and the defensive team fails to clear the puck, then that offside potentially should not be reviewable because the defensive team had a chance to clear the puck and failed.
I understand that. But I understand what Alex is saying, where
Yeah.
the majority of plays should be reviewable. I mean, they definitely need to fix. Well, one thing that I think they need to get rid of as soon as possible, if a team loses a challenge to get a delay of game penalty, that should not be a thing. They should just
That should not be a thing.
They should just lose their challenge. Look what happens in every other sport. In the MLB, you get a coach's challenge every game. If you successfully get the challenge done, you get another opportunity at it. If you don't, have fun. In the NBA, you have your video review. That's most of the time determined by the referees. In the NFL, definitely you see a lot of challenges, a lot of plays going to the box. And the sport where referees have I wouldn't say the most power, because that's at this point the NHL, but the most control of how the game would be run is in soccer, because the VAR ref literally controls the game. And I know Andrew can vouch for that, as the both of us are.
To a certain extent, VAR controls the game. But speaking of terrible refereeing, there was a case a week or two ago where there was a collision between a player from the Columbus Crew, a player from the New England Revolution, and the referee at midfield. This led to a Columbus Crew goal.
I thought you were going to talk about the Zlatan thing.
I'll get to the Zlatan thing. That's something else. But it was ruled a goal on the field. The referee went to the monitor
after the Carolina call for 2 minutes
to the VAR.
It was David Pasternak who makes it 1-0 Boston Bruins in Game 4.
So the referee goes to VAR to look at this coming together between himself and two of the players. He decides that a very minor clip on the heel affected the play enough to call the goal off, when really it was his fault because he was not positioned right. So he used VAR to overturn his awful mistake in positioning.
See, and that's what refs should be doing.
If
a ref
killed the Crew.
Yeah, if a ref makes a bad call and they challenge it, it should be, oh, my mistake, I made a bad call, I'm gonna fix it.
But this ref didn't fix it, he made it worse. He took the goal away that should have stood because he committed a foul.
Which was just dumb in its own right, but obviously,
yeah.
We're going to have an elongated final thoughts where each of us could bring in 2 or 3 of our own thoughts.
We'll get to the Zlatan incident from this
New York City
past weekend in final thoughts.
Yeah, being a New York City SC fan, I will definitely be bringing up the Sean Johnson, Zlatan Ibrahimovic issue from the Galaxy New York City game this past week. But back to NHL refs. Islanders fans there's a section of Islanders fans called the Blue and Orange Army. They're like our fifth line. They're they're the big guys. In past years, and I don't think they do this anymore. In past years, they had a chant about referees. It was, and this is straight from what they said. I'm blind, I'm deaf, I want to be a ref. A rope, a tree, hang the referee. I don't agree with the second part. But the first part, most definitely. I'm blind. Most refs in the NHL are blind. I'm deaf.
There's multiple sports that could be attributed to.
I'm deaf. Multiple refs in the league in multiple sports. They don't know what they're listening to. I want to be a ref.
No, they don't.
The only thing the NHL does in order for them to be a ref is they do, like, I think it's like one little class with experience in pro hockey at somewhat level, plus they could skate on the ice. That's it. Now, Renz, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Should they be changing the way that the NHL approves who gets to referee in their games?
Well, yeah, because what I'm heard from you for how refs become refs, that's definitely not enough.
Or at least that's what I've heard. They do like a little test, and then obviously the big thing about NHL referees and linesmen is they could put on a pair of skates.
Yeah.
Now, does Commissioner Bettman and Bill Daley, do they need to do more work to see who actually is making the right calls, who has a better reputation, who's not throwing out players? Like, people could throw out players all the time. Like, every time Tom Wilson gets thrown out, I'm laughing. Like, because Tom Wilson deserves it the majority of the time. But, like, does the NHL have to look into some of the stuff that's happened this playoffs, especially in the San Jose series leading up to this game last night, along with how the Islanders were treated differently with the Penguins in round one and how they were treated differently with the Hurricanes in the first two games of the second round? There were a ton of issues with these playoffs, and they need to fix this, right?
Well, yeah, they need to fix this because, like, I don't know why, but I don't think there's been a league that shot its foot more than the NHL has, just because of how reffing has gone these playoffs.
They've lost a lot of respect from fans because they're doing the wrong thing. They're not putting the right refs. They're not doing the right. They're not putting the right group together. And some of the better refs in years past, who have been reffing pretty damn good games, they're being subbed out for refs who called a 5-minute major and a game misconduct on Vegas. Oh no, they didn't make it to. They didn't keep going, but like, those are the type of refs we're getting. We're getting refs that don't know what a hand pass is. Like, that's a huge part of the NHL. Like, that's a huge part of it being like the league that we all know it as a contact sport, but we also know it as a fair sport. And when stuff like this, stuff like what happened last night happens, it's not a fair sport anymore. It's just become
was
a contact sport.
Was last night that they just don't know what a hand pass is? Or was it, could it have possibly been the possibility that nobody of the four refs saw the hand pass? Which would mean none of the four refs were actually looking at the puck. What were the four refs doing that that none of them were focusing on the actual play that was going on the ice?
Now,
why wasn't that the focus?
The rules for the NHL, you have two linesmen. In the case of in an offensive zone, you got a guy at the blue line and a guy at the line right next to the goal. Then you got two refs who follow the play, should be following the puck and calling everything. Because the linesman can only call two things: offsides and icing. That's really the majority of what they call. The refs call everything else. But how can we trust the refs if either they're not looking at the play or just they didn't know what a hand pass was? Like, they could have agreed that maybe the puck was batted down toward the ground. But, like, what I know as a hand pass, and this has happened to the Islanders multiple times, is a guy grabs the puck legitimately grabs hold of the puck, puts it in their glove, and shoves it down, throws it to another player. What Timo Meier did, he pushed the puck toward the ice. So obviously there's debate there, but like it's been a weird playoffs overall. I mean, this has just been something out of
the rule on hand passes, and I quote from the NHL rulebook.
What rule number?
79.1.
79.
Rule 79, hand pass. 79.1, hand pass. A player shall be permitted to stop or bat a puck in the air with his open hand or push it along the ice with his hand, and the play shall not be stopped unless, in the opinion of the on-ice officials, so play will not be stopped unless the player has directed the puck to a teammate or has allowed his team to gain an advantage.
So basically they're saying that they didn't get the advantage.
Which is hard to believe when the next two players to touch the puck after the San Jose player, after Timo Meier touched the puck, the next two players to touch the puck were both San Jose Sharks.
So, I mean, you're hearing the opinion from Andrew. You've heard the opinion from Renz. Alex, what have you got?
Referees in our mind are supposed to be like perfect, but in reality, it's all about perspective. What did the refs see?
Nobody's perfect.
And is it likely that both of their perspectives saw it bounce off the puck? No, but maybe one of them saw it, or maybe they both saw it from the perspective that made it look like it came off a stick.
I mean, that could be true, and there were angles that looked like it came off of the stick, and I understand that. I mean, nobody's perfect. That was one of the most important things when looking at one of the most depressing moments in sports history. And if you're a baseball fan, you know this one play.
You mean the one Galarraga?
The last out
of
Armando Galarraga's would have been perfect game.
I watched that live too. That was heartbreaking.
Awful. And I think Justin Williams is going to the Bucs again.
Yeah, that's not good for Carolina.
Williams has become a dirty player this series.
Well, he needs to be the captain for a bunch of jerks.
Yes, he does. And you know what? He is doing it. And if this is it, okay, we're not going to be recording until at some point next week again, obviously, with the short week with Memorial Day. If this is Brad Marsh.
Memorial Day
Didn't go to the box, but
is not for 2 weeks.
Getting into it again. Shocker.
We should have another podcast on Monday.
Yeah, but if this is Carolina's last game of the season, just congrats to them. Obviously, they swept my Islanders, but you know what? They had a killer season, and they proved everybody wrong, just like the Islanders did.
Yep, and at least Carolina still keeps the club that as long as they make the playoffs, they at least make the third round.
That is true. That is true. All right. So I think we have discussed enough about the refs. In conclusion, no ref is perfect. And however, they should be changing that ahead of next season, which would be really nice. Now moving on to multiple final thoughts, and I'll get it started. I'm going to start with New York City FC. So a couple days ago, they headed out to Los Angeles to play Zlatan Ibrahimovic's Los Angeles Galaxy. They were up in the game 2-0, and LA was coming down the field. Zlatan decides it would be a great idea to throw his hands around Sean Johnson's neck and choke him. They didn't give him a red. They didn't even give him a yellow. Please fix that, MLS. Please. I know you're saying you're still looking into it, but please look at it, because I think that play was just completely unnecessary. Johnson did nothing to hurt Ibrahimovic. All Zlatan was doing was standing in front of the net trying to head the ball in, not choking my goalie.
This is true. I have been a soccer ref before. That is the definition of violent conduct. Deliberately placing your hands around someone's neck is not okay anywhere.
All right. And
that should have been a straight red card for Zlatan. He should have had no further impact on that game.
All right, so my second of, we'll do 3 final thoughts per person. My second final thought, and this is more directed toward the Islanders. So and I'm pretty sure Andrew would remember and Renz would remember, because obviously it's the Metro foes. The Islanders a couple of years ago called up a guy named Connor Jones at the end of the year. Jones has spent the last 3 seasons in Bridgeport. He played a couple of games with the Islanders toward the end of the year once there were some injuries to like Casey and a couple other guys. And he played on Bridgeport with his twin brother Kellen for a year. Kellen played in Worcester and Kansas City and a couple other places. Both of them are signing in Switzerland. They officially signed in Switzerland ahead of next season. When I did a previous podcast with one of the websites that I've written for over the past couple of years, Connor was a guest on our show. He was very open. This was right after he made his NHL debut. He was talking. He was just sharing his thoughts about the impact of Quinnipiac players in the Islanders system, obviously with guys like Devon Taves and Travis St. Dennis. Kojo was a fan favorite in Bridgeport. Kellen was great when he was there also, and we wish both of them the best with HC Thurgo next year. It's going to be tough seeing Bridgeport without Connor, because he's just been one of the faces of the team the past couple of years. But you know what? I'll still be cheering them on, and we wish them the best of luck. And my third final thought. Now this final thought is about somebody that there have been some issues with this year. And that is Chris Davis, first baseman for the Baltimore Orioles. Chris Davis is hitting, I think it's like 287 since coming off of his hitless streak. Trey Mancini is in a league where they're full of outfielders. Like, between George Springer, Michael Brantley, Mookie Betts, Mike Trout, like, the list keeps going on and on and on and on. And then guys like Michael Givens, who have been really good at the bullpen. It's a big bullpen league too, the American League. Britton, Chapman, Hand, Barnes, just to name a few. Who else has had good years? Roberto Osuna has had a good year. Just it keeps going. Is with the diminishing first base class, which will probably include Luke Voigt as the potential starter at the All-Star game, which is well-deserved, there's a chance Chris Davis could be the Baltimore Orioles All-Star this year. Which is weird, but it's true. Those are my final thoughts. Let's move on to Alex.
So, my first final thoughts is that so I read somewhere it's either going to one of two places. He's either going to Moscow to try and win a KHL championship, or he's coming back to the Wings. And obviously, I want him to come back to the Wings and like mentor the kids. So yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's been a whole thing with him recently. He's either going back to the Wings or playing in his hometown to end his career.
Yeah.
What's your second thought?
Melky Cabrera is still hitting above 300.
Get it, Melky Cabrera.
But Josh,
and so is Josh Bell. But you guys still don't have a good pitching staff with Tyon out. And I think you really do miss Meadows and Glasnow right now, huh?
Meadows, yes. Glasnow, I'm still not high on. Glasnow has been good for one half of the season before and fallen off. If he can keep it up for an entire year, then yeah, the Rays are in really good shape.
And the Pirates got trade ripped. All right, third thought.
The Rays only have 3 real starters. Glasnow and Charlie Morton are both former Pirates.
Right now, they actually only have 2 real starters. It is Blake Snell and Charlie Morton with Tyler Glasnow on the injured list. And Kevin Cash came out and said to the media that they will be running 2 starters, 3 openers until somebody gets back. Great job.
Tampa just
Watch out for the opener, am I right?
Watch out. All right. Let's go. Ren's next. 3 thoughts.
Okay, so the first thought for me, and this is kind of more of a thing that was more recent. Jets, what are you doing? Okay, so yesterday, if somehow no one in the football world noticed, McAgden got fired. At first, I was happy saying, yes, he finally got fired, and then I thought for a second, wait, why fire him now?
Adam Gase
Like,
now stuck with
you let him splurge.
$1 million running back that he didn't want.
That's a rumor, which I don't know yet. First of all, you spend $100 million. You let him spend $100 million in free agency. You let him draft the whole class, and only for him to get canned 2 weeks later after said draft.
But wait, there's more. In
What?
Gase's first move as Jets interim GM, he trades Darren Lee for a 6th round pick. Have fun, City.
I will say this: one, really only a 6th. I thought we could have at least gotten a 5th or 4th. Like, come on. But I do understand why you would getting rid of Darren Lee. He almost had 0 trade value for the sole reason of everybody knew he wasn't coming back, so they had no leverage.
All right.
So I guess the 6 is fine. So,
Thought 2.
and my second thought is, this is more about the New York Mets, my team. What the fuck are you guys doing?
Whoa, we get it. 2 of your outfielders got hurt today, but chill.
No, it's not that. It's more of a whole season thing right now. Like, I've seen this team be bad, but I haven't seen this team be this hysterically inconsistent. They haven't been bad. They've just been hysterically inconsistent. I've seen worse starts from this team.
DFA Keon in RFN. Please.
Yeah.
He has 1 hit since April 14th. I don't want to see. I have friends who are diehard Mets fans. I don't want them being depressed over Keon Broxton when Carlos Gomez is absolutely raking in series.
Now, here's the thing that annoys me about Keon Broxton. He missed he was the last batter in the bases loaded, top of the ninth, 2 outs. And I'm just like, okay, how can he do? He swung. There were 2 pitches in the middle, and he swung and missed at them at both. It wasn't even like a hard pitch. It was like in the low 90s. I'm just like, how do you miss that?
He doesn't throw fast. I mean,
he doesn't.
92 is fast, but compared to the Aralts Chapmans and the Roberto Osunas of the world, he doesn't throw fast.
Yeah. And then like Broxton, he just throws 2 in no, it's not Broxton. Doolittle just throws 2 in the middle. like any other batter in that lineup probably hits that ball at least somewhat far. Broxton swings and misses at both of them.
All right.
Which annoyed the hell out of him.
And obviously,
okay, at thought number.
Wait, no. Obviously, Michael Conforto diagnosed with a concussion. Jeff McNeil today. Congratulations, JD Davis. You did not get any time in the outfield during spring training or at all during the regular season so far. You are playing left field tomorrow. Thought 3.
Yep. And and he's a good bat, but he's a terrible fielder.
All right.
Dude sucks fielding.
What?
Well, thought 3's kind of more of a small thing. It's about Hughes versus Capo. I'm also a Devils fan. Yeah, I'm sorry. I still take Hughes, even with Capo tearing apart like other countries in the world.
It's close.
Yeah, it's close. I'll say it's close.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my 3.
All right, and last but not least, we've got the soccer complainer himself, Andrew.
Sorry, just looking up statistics for one of my final thoughts, which will be Flyers at the World Championships this year. For Canada, Sean Couturier has 2 points, a goal and an assist. JVR, a goal and an assist, also 2 points. The big one, Carter Hart, playing for Team Canada, has a .943 save percentage through 2 games and a 1 goal against. The really surprising one.
Playing for Sweden?
Yes, Oscar Lindblom is playing for Sweden, and he has been very solid. He has 4 points, 3 goals, 1 assist in Sweden's games so far. Yeah, he is playing with Nylander, so that does help him out a lot. But he's still actually putting in the goals that he wasn't putting in when he was with the Flyers. And Jacob Voracek has 8 points.
Czech Republic's team is good
against the Czechs. So he's playing very well. It's good to see Flyers performing well for their national teams.
Hopefully they can perform well.
That's thought number 1. Yes. Who is, by chance, just happens to be the coach for Canada.
And Hart on Team Canada.
Yeah.
And now, Felipe Myers.
Yes, Phil Myers did get called up after the injury to Brandon Montour, so it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing with him and how well he can play at that level. And one of the assistants under Alain Vigneault is actually former Flyers head coach Dave Haxtell. Just little random fun fact.
Oh boy.
Thought number 2.
That must be fun.
Yeah, thought number 2 revolves around the $330 man in Philadelphia, Bryce Harper.
Michael Talkman has not gotten Bryce Harper. Woo!
He has not gotten off to the greatest start. Through the first 40 games this year, he is hitting .222. It is his worst in his career. He has struck out 54 times. 13 more times than his worst season.
Jeez, I knew Bryce Harper could strike out a lot, but I did not know he was already at 50.
Going into this season, he had struck out 21% of the time. He's now striking out 30% of the time.
That's a very large increase.
But that is not necessarily a fault of his own.
I mean,
because everyone else in the league is striking out more than ever too.
Yeah, this is becoming.
He has also seen more sliders than he's ever seen in his career. 20% of the pitches he's seeing have been sliders. Sliders are not easy to hit.
McKagan,
they are.
For goalie interference, Bruins power play with 1:50 left in the second.
Pitchers are just throwing a ton of sliders now. It used to be the fastball, but pitchers have now gone to the slider as their go-to pitch outside of the fastball.
Yeah, and I will say this about Harper, Andrew. I will say this about Harper, Andrew. Now, I think the reason why they keep trying to throw sliders at Bryce Harper and why they keep trying to throw that is because when you think about Bryce Harper, and you see how like he tries to torque his hips or try to hit,
Yeah.
he's trying out
Yes,
that bad
he
box
does.
at right.
He does try to hit it out every time. Other guys whose strikeout rates have drastically increased from last year to this year. Leonis Martin, his strikeout rate is up 12.3% from last year.
Yeah.
From 15% to nearly 28%. Carlos Santana, a guy who didn't strike out a whole lot, went from 16.5% to just under 25%. There are a lot of guys that are striking out a lot more than they usually do. So it's not just Harper that's having trouble with pitching this year. A lot of players around baseball are having problems with pitching.
All right.
And they will adjust. There's a lot of baseball left.
There is.
Thought number 3 comes down to my Philadelphia Union, who have a massive, massive home game this Saturday against the second place Seattle Sounders from the Western Conference. They welcome them into Talent Energy Stadium. This should be an incredible, incredible match between two of the top teams in MLS. This should be a wonderful match to watch on Saturday night.
Potential MLS Cup.
We'll see. It is could be a potential MLS Cup preview, but LAFC has also been incredible this year.
For MLS MVP.
Yeah.
All right. So that will do it for episode 5. Unless anyone has any last words, I've got something quickly to say. Anyone?
I've got nothing.
Right.
Yeah, no.
I just want to add that Anthony Mantha is leading Team Canada in points, I believe.
That is true. I want to send best wishes to Ryan Kessler. He had surgery the other day that'll keep him out of the 2019-2020 season and potentially end his career. He had a great career. Didn't work out. You got hurt. He was always one of my favorite players, even though he didn't have the best behavior in the league. But you know what? If this is the end, congrats on a fantastic career. Probably not a Hall of Famer, but a very good hockey player. That is it for episode 5 of the Wild Blueberries Roundtable from Andrew, Alex, Renz, and myself. We will see you next Monday for episode 6. All right.